Happy Monday, City Church, Dan here with our City Daily for today. I hope this will encourage you. I hope this will encourage you to keep your eyes fixed on Jesus and to keep seeking Him in these times which are obviously difficult for many of us in different ways. To do that, I'm going to talk a little bit about the life of St. Patrick. I think there's a few things we can learn from him. I'm a little bit late because St. Patrick's Day was last month. So if I should have done this a month ago, probably. Well, I don't know about you, when I think of St. Patrick, I think of green hats, I think of Guinness, big parades in New York. But St. Patrick was a real guy, real dude. And he was patron saint of Ireland. But he wasn't actually Irish. He's got an amazing story. He's actually from Britain. And then he was kind of kidnapped, taken to Ireland, and was enslaved there. He worked as a slave in Ireland, in the cold and the wet, on the land, a harsh existence. So he knows a little bit about being locked down, if you like, being isolated, a bit like we do. And he managed to escape his slavery through some visions he had. I don't quite know what happened. We're talking the 400s AD here. And he went back to Britain. He trained as a pastor back in Britain. And then one day he had a vision or a dream of his old captors back in Ireland, begging him to go to Ireland to share the gospel there, which is what he does. So he gets a team of guys. They go on basically a mission trip to Ireland. They share the gospel. They look to love people, and thousands are saved. Thousands are saved, and the churches are planted, and the whole fabric of the nation is transformed. An amazing story. I think one thing we can learn from him is, how did he get through his lockdown experience? How did he stay having faith in God in that time? And one of his biographers says this about him. It says, Patrick is able to survive these harsh and lonely territories of exile precisely because he keeps the beauty of God alive in his heart. The inner beauty of the divine intimacy transfigures the outer bleakness. So he kept the beauty of God alive in his heart. I want encouragement for us in our situations to do that as well. But how do you do that? How do you keep the beauty of God alive in your heart? I think one thing we can do is you want to keep coming to truth, coming to God's word. Another thing is you want to pray. I don't know about you, but I want to pray more in this season of life. I've got a little bit more time on my hands. I really want to use that to pray more. But also, I don't know about you, that actually sometimes I find that sometimes I don't know what to pray. I don't know don't know what to say. I can feel if I'm a bit tired, especially if I'm not really feeling it. So actually it can be really helpful to look at some set prayers, some set words, some models of prayer to help us get into praying and to being before God. And like the Lord's Prayer is an example of that. St. Patrick has quite a famous prayer called St. Patrick's Breastplate Prayer that I'm just going to read part of. And I think firstly you can use this as a model to help you pray yourself. It's quite full of beautiful language, but beautiful language because it's true, pointing our eyes to God, reminding us of who Jesus is and the closeness and intimacy of Jesus. Even if you never use this ever, if you never hear it ever again, I pray that even now as you hear it, it's going to encourage you and do you good. But I'm just going to read it. I've taken a few bits out of it, but I'm going to read most of it. So here we go. I arise today through a mighty strength, the invocation of the Trinity, through belief in the threeness, through confession of the oneness of the Creator of creation. I arise today through the strength of Christ's birth with his baptism, through the strength of his crucifixion with his burial, through the strength of his resurrection with his ascension, through the strength of his descent for the judgment of doom. I arise today through God's strength to pilot me, God's might to uphold me, God's wisdom to guide me, God's eye to look before me, God's ear to hear me, God's word to speak for me, God's hand to guard me, God's shield to protect me, God's host to save me from snares of devils, from temptation of vices, from everyone who shall wish me ill afar and near. Christ with me, Christ before me, Christ behind me, Christ in me, Christ beneath me, Christ above me, Christ on my right, Christ on my left, Christ when I lie down, Christ when I sit down, Christ when I arise, Christ in the heart of every man who thinks of me, Christ in the mouth of everyone who speaks of me, Christ in every eye that sees me, Christ in every ear that hears me. I arise today through a mighty strength, the invocation of the Trinity, through belief in the threeness, through confession of the oneness of the Creator of creation. Amen. And beautiful prayer fixes our eyes on our beautiful triune God, Father, Son, and Spirit, and reminds us that no matter where we're at, Jesus is Emmanuel. He is God with us. So, Christ be with you today. Have a blessed day, and I'll see you soon. Adios.